Click that. Thanks again for your positive attitudes and growth mindset. Before we get started, just a reminder that I just hit the record button. If for some reason you have to leave or you're disconnected, you'll be able to find all of the recordings on the P-BVU YouTube channel. Today's training is designed to give you an overview of information in a small amount of time to apply that information. We'll be moving fast, but you can always go back to the agenda to view resources that you need to manage these tasks. If technology is difficult for you, reach out to a colleague, or you may want to sit back and just take in the information, then go back to the participants' agenda later to use the resources as a support to complete the tasks. The agenda for today should be in the chat. It contains all the links you will need as we move forward. So this is your support team for today. Dr. Jason Hodgson is the Director of Professional Development. He's taken the lead to make P-BVU and distance learning happen. Shelley Tiffin is our Instructional Services Coordinator with P-BVU, supporting P-BVU Plus and distance learning. My name is Shannon Zimmerman. I'm coming to you from Castle STEAM Academy as an engineering specialist, and I am now one of your distance learning TOSAs. Hans Tolman is a STEAM technology specialist coming from Castle and is now a distance learning TOSA. Jill Fetters has been an academic coach at Tevis for the past 5 years, and she is now here to support you as your distance learning TOSA. Due to the number of people joining our session, we ask that you please keep your mics muted and your video off. This will limit the distractions and help the connection. All the links and resources can be found on today's agenda. Please use the Q&A document for questions. Again, due to the amount of people on the call and our desire to support you, the chat is not our preferred method for answering questions. Please use the Q&A document found on the agenda. We do have several planned pauses where we'll check the chat and we'll check the Q&A document and give you some answers then. If you go to your agenda, at the top, you will see all of the links to the other resources. Below the agenda items, you will find helpful links. So as you scroll down, you're going to see different links that we'll be using today that go along with the tasks. Oops, sorry about that. All right, and just a reminder about that Q&A document. Thank you guys. For those of you who asked questions in the Q&A, we were able to answer your questions, and all of your hundreds of P-BVUSD colleagues are learning from your inquiries. So keep adding those questions and we'll keep taking breaks to answer them. So as we move on, I have a question for you guys. We're wondering, at this point, how are you feeling? Let's take a moment and just put one word into the chat about how you're feeling about the whole situation. Just let it out. Just let whatever it is out. We get a lot of overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, overwhelmed and exhausted. Absolutely. Excited. Awesome. I'm excited too, but also overwhelmed and stressed. So we're all in this together, guys. We're all having these feelings. We're here for each other and we are all going through this together. So maybe you feel something like this and you're trying to stay positive at work and you're just holding on, grasping to the positivity, but it's difficult. Or if you're a parent, I think every parent right now feels like this, which I think is hilarious, but so true. And maybe some of you are feeling like this, like you've got this and you can just get on that computer and address your cool cats and kittens. However you're feeling, we're in this together. And we're here to support you. So let's go ahead and get started with our objectives. We're going to take a deeper dive today into distance learning pillars of communication and connection with some specific tools and examples of how to best facilitate this. These are today's objectives. First, we will look at gaining feedback from our parents regarding their students and any specific needs we should be aware of by using Google Forms to get feedback from families. Then we will look at best practices for facilitating online learning, specifically in a synchronous environment, by drafting ideas for communicating protocols. Next, looking into a few more key components of Google Meet to help you feel more prepared for day one. Finally, we'll end our time today by reflecting on communication and connection takeaways. You will want to reach out to your parents and gather information with a Google form. This will let you know how to best contact them and gather helpful details about their students, the best times to reach them, connectivity, learning environment at home, student struggles, strengths and weaknesses, etc. It's important to maintain communication with parents to be able to meet the needs of their students. So here are some suggestions that maybe you can ask your parents. You can ask about preferred methods of parent contact, times they are available, etc. Remember, Parent Square is a two-way communication, so they can contact you directly. You could ask the best time to to connect with students for meetings or small group instruction or office hours. Ask about connectivity. If they're going to be using Wi-Fi, data, or a hotspot, how many siblings will be accessing the same connection spot? What type of physical environment will the student be in while they're participating in distance learning? For example, will they have a quiet place to work, a desk away from the TV? Will multiple siblings be working around the kitchen table? Does the student have a IEP 504 plan, accommodations and modifications for their learning? You could even ask questions of students. For example, parents could help the smaller children by answering the questions, while junior high students can fill out a separate get to know you survey. You can blast out the form link using Parent Square to parents. We've included a sample form that you may want to revise, edit, or create your own. And we'll pause for a minute and have some questions. Do we have any questions?
I don't think we have any questions at this time.
All right, great. Well, we'll move on then. All right, so we're going to get into our first task. Now we are ready for that first task. We will give you time to create your own Google Forms survey for parents, or you can make a copy of this form and revise it and make any changes you desire. I will demonstrate how to do this, then I will give you 3 minutes to get started on this task. Once the timer starts, I will go through the steps more slowly. All right, so let's go. If you guys would like go back to your agenda and scroll down. So once you're in your agenda, if you look at number 4, task 1, you're going to see a link there, exemplar form. When you click it, it's going to give you a URL to select. So from there, I'm going to select that URL to get that example form. Here you can make a copy of it. So go ahead and click that button. And again, I'm going to show you now, but then I'll put that timer on and I'm going to show you again. So if I'm going too fast, I will do this again a little bit slower. Once you're in your form, you probably want to rename it. So if you go look at the top left corner and you triple click, you will highlight everything. You can delete that. Oops, I didn't get everything. Maybe we just want to call this parent form. Oops. I really think I need to cut my fingernails. All right, parent form, and watch this. So when I go back over here and I'm going to click, my title just changed. So this is your file name and also your title. You're going to want to get rid of some of this information in the top, so you can highlight this. These are directions on how to make a copy of this form, but we don't need that for parents, so you're going to want to delete that. Might want to delete this Spanish section because this is specific to the message above, if you're going to change that. And just kind of scroll down and take a look and see what's included. There's a welcome video, parent information, contact information. So there's several things in there. You guys can take a look at all of those. If you want to change something, like change the text, all you need to do is click on the text you want to change. You'll get a cursor. You can change things. If you wanted to delete something, you didn't want this, like maybe this video here, you're going to want to make your own video. You're not going to Mr. Tolman's video. You can select that and look for that trash can, and that will delete it. But before we delete it, I want to show you how to view it, because you can't view the video from the editing feature. But if you go up to the top to that little icon that looks like an eyeball and click preview, you're going to see what the students and parents will see. And then they can play the video there. We go back over, but we don't want that, so I'm going to throw that away in the trash can. If you want to add a new question, say there's something missing, look over here to the right. You're going to see a toolbar, and this little plus button up at the top is Add Question. So you can click that. It'll add a question. You can type in your question here. You could choose what type of question you want. You can play around with that, and a lot more. Finally, before I send you guys off to do this, I just want to show you that you can move these questions around. So if you want to change the order of things, take a look at each question. When I hover over a question, these 6 tiny little dots appear, and then your cursor actually changes. So I have mouse, and then now I have these crosshairs with arrows on them. Hold your mouse down, and you can drag and drop to change the order. So again, holding your mouse down, dragging and dropping to change the order. All right, guys. Let's start the timer, and I'm going to go over that process again for people who need a little bit more support. Here we go. All right, let's do it. All right, we're going to go over that again a little slower. So if you would make sure you get to your agenda and scroll down and find number 4, task 1. Once you've found that, look for the blue words that say exemplar form and give it a click. What that does is that opens up a box down below. You probably noticed it right there, right? That opens up that box, and there's the URL for this form. And remember, URL is just another word for web address. And then you're going to make a copy of it, so you'll have this copy in your Google Drive, so you can go find your form later by finding it in Google Drive. All right. Hopefully you have that open, and just go ahead and give it a rename up in the top. You can completely rename it, or you can just delete maybe that example, make a copy. And when I click down somewhere else, watch, that's what it changes the title of the form as well. So those two things are going to be the same. We're going to want to delete this information here at the top of the form. So I'm going to highlight the information that I want to delete. There it is. Once you have it highlighted, just hit the delete button, and there it goes. It's gone. You can customize your message however you want. You want to take that Spanish out. If you're interested on how to get the Spanish, you would go to translate.google.com, and then you can translate English into many, many, many other languages, and then copy that and paste it back in here. Let's get rid of this video. Go ahead and select that, and what are we looking for? We are looking for the trash can. So we're going to throw it away, delete. There it is, it's gone. And I'm going to do a little editing here. If I want to take out a word, or just change the titles of my different segments of my form. I can also edit anywhere within the text on any of these questions just by clicking on it, and you can retype whatever you'd like. All right, there's our timer. Don't forget, you can add a question over here too, guys. All right, let's go back. All right, time's up. Keeps kicking me out of present mode. All right. So hopefully you had a minute to get that form done and start thinking about what kind of information you want from your parents so you can be successful. But before you have your first live video conference with your students, having prepared expectations will be the foundation of your online classroom management. These protocols are an essential component for managing a smooth running learning environment. Well-crafted protocols communicate the teacher's expectations for the class, and it sets the tone for your online class culture. Once they are created, they need to be explicitly taught and practiced regularly. Communicate your distance learning protocols on the first day of school and continue to start meetings with these protocols to make sure everyone knows what's expected of them. The protocols may include items such as muting your microphone when not speaking, wearing headphones if you have them, showing up prepared for your class, dressing appropriately for school, finding a quiet place to work. So we've included some examples. So if you go back to your participants' agenda and you look on number 5, task 2, you'll have some examples there. But I'm going to take you through them right now, and then you'll have a chance to look at them on your own as well. So for this one, this came from the Distance Learning Playbook by Doug Fisher. Here's another one from the Distance Learning Playbook, video chats. They use an acronym here, MAC. A little more appropriate for our littles. And here is one that was made by one of our own, Miss Neal from Sandrini Elementary. She did a fantastic job using Bitmojis and visuals for her TK class so they understand what the expectation is visually. And this is from Miss Sterling, also using that Bitmoji. Here's another one that may look familiar to you if you went through the distance learning courses over the summer. This one is by Kaylee Mara and Matt Miller. Matt Miller is the author of Ditch That Textbook. All right, so you guys ready for your task? I'm going to give you 3 minutes to go over and look at that agenda, start going through those different examples. You can open up a Google Doc or make notes in a Google Keep, or even open up Google Slides and start creating your protocols. So we'll put 3 minutes on the clock. You guys can kind of get started brainstorming, looking at the examples, see what you want to create for your online classroom management, which we call protocols. All right, guys, ready? Here we go. All right, guys, coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, welcome back. Let's take a minute and see if we have any questions from our co-TOSAs.
There was one person that was trying to see if they could edit those examples that we have. Those are images and PDFs, so not all of them were editable. But if you're creative, at least it's a kind of a picture where you can duplicate yourself, so it kind of gives you an idea.
Thank you, Jill. Also, I believe 2 of them are from Google Slides, so there are 2 of them that you could just make a copy of, but the other ones are the JPEGs. Any other questions that we need to address right now?
There was a conversation about how to get translated English in your Google form. And I just went to translate.google.com. I pasted whatever English I wrote in the form, pasted it into there, and then copied the Spanish version and just put it below the English version. That way, in case there's a parent who's reading over that and not understanding it, it'll be a little more accessible.
Thank you, Hans.
That's it.
All right, thanks. Okay, then we'll move on. We have some updates for you guys. So we had a email, Dr. Hodgson sent out an email update the other day with this message. He says both Google Meet and Zoom will be available for teachers' use. Google Meet is what we teach because it's free and the most equitable for all students. However, Zoom works now too. The best choice is what each teacher is comfortable with and what is the most reliable for each student. Zoom is the most robust option, but unlike Google Meet, some students may experience loss of video or garbled audio on Zoom due to the issues of student Chromebooks and or internet. If you use Zoom and experience issues, Google Meet might help resolve the issue. So I know that was a big concern with people, so I'm glad that he put that out there for you guys and make it a little clear. And just remember, if you are not able to connect with your kids through the technology, if sometimes like the Zoom is just so robust, it's hard, you have another option. And so we're supporting with Google Meet as well. And Google Meet has some updates coming this fall. So this is good news. They're going to have a larger tiled view. They'll have a digital whiteboard, closed captions in more languages. So I'm not sure how many languages are going to be right there in Meet that you can switch over, but they are going to have more languages and hand raising. They also have some new teacher controls coming, and we're going to demonstrate some of these for you. So they will have teachers will have the ability to mute all, to disable the chat, to lock the presentation screen. Teachers must join before the meeting starts, block anonymous or unwanted knocks on your meeting, and they can end the meeting for all and blurred backgrounds. So that's good news. If you're going to use Meets, we'll have some additional features. So integrating video conference into your distance learning instruction is how you will facilitate synchronous online learning with your students. These video sessions are best for interaction and live discussion in your virtual coursework. These virtual meetings combined with other classwork options such as assignments, integrating drive files, quiz assignments, or question-based discussions. You can allow students to interact with lesson content in more than one way. You can offer them multiple avenues to show what they know. Here is a video of Google Meet, an overview video. Please let me know if you cannot hear the audio and I can share in a different way. Okay. All right, guys, so just going to give you a little tip here. If you couldn't hear my audio, it's because I shared my entire screen with you. So I am going to stop sharing real quick. And I'm going to reshare my screen. And this time I'm going to select the tab that I want to share. So instead of the whole desktop or the entire screen, I'm going to do the current tab. And down below, there is a button that says Share Computer Sound. I want to make sure I have that clicked. That way, when I'm showing you a video, you can hear the same thing that I'm hearing. So I'm going to share back, and let's try this again.
So let's say I'm a teacher and I'm hosting a Google Meet meeting with my students. And let's say Jill here is a student in my classroom. This is the layout of the Google Meet. If I click in the center and my menu bar pops up, over on the left I have my joining information, and I can copy that and paste it into a parent square message or whatever. I can mute my microphone. I can hang up on the call, leave the call, and then I can also turn off my camera. So as you can see, my camera is active. I can turn that off so they only see my profile picture. Over here, if I wanted my students to, if I had a student who is hard of hearing, I could turn on captions. So this is what it looks like with closed captions. Google is very efficient in converting audio into text, and it's very realistic. And notice how you'll see my profile picture next to this. That's what you're going to see when a student responds. You'll see their profile picture, or you'll see your response. And that's very powerful. I can turn off closed captions. If I want to share my screen in a presentation, I can click Present Now, and I have a choice. I can share my entire screen, or I can share just a tab of a window. But if I want to show video or animation or sound, I would do a Chrome tab, and it would look like this. Let's say my music is going to be happening on this slide. I can select that and share that slide. So I'm sharing my screen. I can go into present mode if I'm on slides, and you'll be able to hear that music or that video within my slides and within this tab. And also notice this blue little icon to show me that I'm sharing to that tab. Now back in my Google Meet tab, I can stop sharing, and I can decide if I want to present with audio. So I'm going to stop sharing. And if you look next to Present Now, I can also go to More Options, and here I can record my meeting. And if I click Record, it gives me a notice: recording a meeting without the consent of all participants may be illegal. And then in the top left corner you will see this recording button, and now I am recording. But I'm only recording this screen. If I click on the three dots, I can stop my recording, and then that recording will be saved in my Google Drive to access and share anytime I'd like. If you go back to the three dots for more option, I can change the layout. Right now I'm in auto, but I can do sidebar, or I can change the layout to spotlight, and I can choose who I'm going to spotlight. I can also change it to tile view, where I see everyone who's in here. I can also change it to full screen, so it takes up my entire screen and removes my tabs. I can exit full screen. And I can also use a phone for audio, which is good to know. If I go to settings, I can switch microphones or check microphone and speaker information, as well as video and what I want to send the resolution as. I'm going to go, if you have poor connection, stick with a low resolution so everyone can see and hear still. It won't be a high quality, but better than dropping calls. Up here, I can look at all of my participants. So notice that I have myself, I'm talking, and then the student below. If I click on this pull-down menu next to the student, I can pin her so that she's front and center on my screen. If she wasn't muted, I could mute her. If she was misbehaving, I could remove her from the Google Meet. Next to people is the chat. This is a feature that students can use to communicate and collaborate together as a back channel during the meeting. Also notice that this is the Google Meet code that they could enter. Then I'm going to X out, and that is an overview of Google Meet. Thanks for watching.
All right, great video. And I've got another really good video I think you guys are going to like. So check this out. If a student tries to sneak into a Google Meet before the teacher, this is what's going to happen.
So here we have a student's Chromebook, and they're in my Google Classroom. As you can see, I have the Google Meet link generated. Now the student will click on that Google Meet link, but since the teacher isn't in it, she's going to go to this page, getting ready. Uh-oh, this meeting hasn't started yet. So until the teacher enters the meeting, the student will not be allowed to enter.
So that kind of shows you, demonstrates that level of security that we were talking about with Meet by creating that generated Meet link in Classroom. It's going to help keep those meetings secure. And this is what it looks like if a student joins your Google Meet and the teacher is already there.
Here's a student's Chromebook computer. They're ready to join their teacher in the Google Classroom generated Google Meet link. Once the student clicks on that link and the teacher is in the Google Meet, the Google meeting, the student will see this page. They'll click Join Now, and they will see their teacher.
Pretty easy for them to get on. All right, guys, we have a minute for questions. How are we looking, Jill, Hans?
One of the questions that's coming up is the recording with your students during your Meet sessions. And we are getting clarification from the district office as to the legalities of that. So as soon as we find out, we'll pass on that information to you. Hans, did you see any other questions?
Yeah, Katie mentioned that they were cautioned to be careful with Google Translate, great in a pinch, but if it's really something official, consider using interpreter services. Does closed captioning negatively impact connectivity? I don't know that it takes up any more bandwidth than the streaming video. So, but yeah, like Google Translate is not 100% perfect. It's way better than it used to be, but using the district translate services is a great option if you have like maybe all of your questions on one side of a Google Doc on a table and then have a space for the translator to translate what was said or whatever that protocol is, or have a friend who's bilingual look over it. I wanted to see if there's anything else. So in the Q&A doc, we're seeing some questions. Someone was asking about a Google extension for breakout sessions. This may have been last session, but it says it's blocked by our admin. Is there a way we can have this unblocked if we choose to use Google Meet? So as you come across extensions that you think would be helpful for student learning, make sure that that extension has 20,000 plus users for security reasons so that it's tested by others. And then you can send the link to that extension with your reasons on why you would like to access it in an IT ticket. And I can drop in the link to how you would put an IT ticket in. But other than that, that's all the questions we have.
All right, thank you guys, great questions. I just wanted to point something out from the video to really reiterate this. When Hans was taking you through those video options and he was showing you how to change the resolution of your video, if you guys find that you're having connectivity issues with the students and there's just a lot of problems, that is going to help you save bandwidth. So just be aware of that. That lower resolution is not going to be as clear or as pretty on the screen, but it's going to really help you with connectivity. So let's take some time to reflect. Now that you've learned about how to gather information from families, thought through protocols, and have learned some basic Google Meet, you are on your way to mastering communication and connection in distance learning. But you are not alone. Millions of teachers around the country are learning about communication and connection along with you. But there's one person that we would like to introduce you to. This is Jim Bentley. He is an educator who is currently distance teaching and live tweeting his key takeaways in the first weeks of online learning. So here's how you can find his Twitter thread. I am going to go back to the agenda, and I'm going to scroll down to number 8, task 3, and it says read Jim's Twitter thread. Just going to click it. There he is, gives you a little preview. I'm going to click that again. And this is this guy has been doing some great things and sharing out to other educators his experience, his takeaways. He's got a lot of great stuff on communication and connection. Why don't you take a minute and read down at least those seven takeaways. And if you scroll down, you'll see a lot of other great ideas and experiences with distance learning. And then when you have kind of have recognized your own takeaway from distance learning, communication and connection, can you go down to 8B and click on this Google Sheet and let us know what it is. Let us know what your takeaway is. So when I open this up, you're going to see some great takeaways from other teachers here on staff.
Oh, sorry, Shannon. I just noticed it looks like you're still on the slide.
So you may have to stop sharing and reshare.
Okay. All right. And that's something that, you know, we're going to have to get used to, because if you want to have audio for your students, you have to share one way. And if you don't need audio, you can share a different way, which makes it easier. All right, so let's go back to that. Let's start at the agenda. In your agenda, you're going to find 2 items. You'll find Jim's Twitter thread right here on next to number 8. And then the next one is a Google Sheet where we would like you to share some of your takeaways from communication and connection with distance learning. So by clicking on that, this is where you can share. We have, oh, look at you guys. They gave you a brand new clean sheet. If you look at down at the bottom, you can see some other takeaways from other teachers. Some teachers are still on there. Check that out. But yeah, take a minute and look down Jim's Twitter thread, Twitter feed, and share with us. What are your takeaways? And I think we are about out of time. I would love it if you guys would fill that out. But before you leave today, come on, slides. My slides aren't being nice. Before you leave today, please make sure you give us some feedback. We read the feedback from earlier this week. We tried to incorporate some of that to support you better. So if you can continue to help us, that would be great to make it better for you and the experience better. And don't forget to sign out, please. Make sure you go to your agenda at the top and click on that link and sign out. Thank you guys for attending today. Thank you for hanging in all week. It's Friday afternoon. We get to have a break now, get some rest, and we will see you next week. Please feel free to drop a goodbye or a call out in the chat as you're leaving, and have a great weekend. Bye, Ellen. Candace, thank you so much for letting us use your protocols. They were amazing. Did a great job on those. Thank you, Martha. Bye, Kalina. Bye, David. You're welcome. You guys are so welcome. Thank you, Therese. Enjoy your weekend too. Bye, guys. You're welcome. Thanks, Katie. Your brain's not on fire this time. Woohoo!
That's a win.
That is a win. Thank you. Yeah, you're so welcome. Good. I'm glad you guys found the information helpful. Bye, Susanna. You're welcome. Bye, Shannon. You're so welcome. Bye, Sally. Hopefully that helps, Sally.
Hang in there, Sally. You got this.
Yes, you do, girl.
We believe in you.
Oh,
Thanks, Terry.
my gosh. Can I just tell you that, I mean, whatever. There's so many of things to be worried about. It's so easy to get in one and spin. So thank you. Thank you for your votes of confidence.
You got this. You're welcome, Sally.
Thank you.
Jelani, thanks. I'm glad that the speed was a little bit better and manageable. You're welcome, Jeff. Bye, Jeanette. Mrs. Right. Not Mrs. Wrong. You're Mrs. Right. That's what my sister says. That's her name, too. She always says she's married to Mr. Right.
These people just want to keep on hanging out, don't they? They're like, do we really have to leave PD?
It's Friday.